Welcome to the third Onshape tutorial for creating the basic pizza cutter. So far we've created the basic model. We've then gone back and modified that to try and make it look a little bit more aesthetic and to add features to it that make it a bit more usable. So we've got a model that we could show to stakeholders or we could use to help us develop a physical model perhaps made from foam and card. This next step we're going to look at creating a working drawing so that we could print that off and use that as templates to help us manufacture some of the parts or to give us dimensions to help us make some of the parts. So to create a drawing with our model loaded up, we're going to click on the little plus sign down here. We are going to click on Create Drawing. This gives us a dialog box, and we're actually going to pick a custom template. So if we click on Custom Template, it then gives us choice over some different settings. Our language is English. We're going to change the size to A3 because that allows us to produce several different views at a scale of 1:1 actual size. Our units are already selected as millimeters. We will use decimal points for the decimal separator. Some countries use a comma. But what we will do is we'll change it to third angle. That's the preferred way of showing things in drawings these days. And we'll stick with no views. Settings on the right we don't need to worry about at all. The most important ones are to change it to A3 and over to third angle. So we can click on OK, and the software will then load up a blank drawing sheet. And because we've done this from the model that we've created, we can choose that to bring into our drawing. So you can see here we've got a choice about the first view that we're going to bring in and the scale, and we are just going to bring that in by default. We can play around with that if we wanted to. So I'm just going to left click to position that, and now if I move over to the right, it will put a projected view, so as it is on the sheet. If we were looking from the right onto the view that's already there, this is what we would see. So just going to left click, you'll see that it automatically lines it up. And what we want to do now is to put a view up above as well. So if we left click on the view that's just been put down and move that up, it will then put a projected view of that. So that's the three views that we want. So we've got an end view, a side view, and a top view. And because this is a scale of 1:1, if we were to print this out on an A3 piece of paper, we could use this as a template. We could cut this out and use this as a template to help make some of the components. It's also useful on drawings to have some dimensions, so we can add some of these in. So if we go to the dimension tool, we can click on that, and just by selecting a particular element, we can add in a dimension. So it'd be quite useful to know the diameter of the cutter. It would be quite useful to know the overall length of the product. Now, automatic dimension tools don't often pick those up straight away for us, so we can pick up the outside radius. There you go, and it picks up the center. So we've got the center from there to the center of that radius, and if we then dimension that radius as well, we could use that to work out the overall length of the product. We can also use this to add in any widths, and we try to make sure that the dimension lines aren't overlapping. So it's useful if you're going to produce a model to incorporate as many dimensions as would be useful. Normally we would model this as a series of separate components, and we would use dimension drawings for each individual component, and then we would use a drawing like this perhaps to show how those components are assembled. But because we could be just making a simple model of this just to show a stakeholder or to test out a concept, this will suffice for these purposes. Just one other thing that I will show you. The detail here is not very clear at this scale, so what we could do is we could put a detailed view in. So if we click on the detailed view, and if we just drag out a circle in that area and then click, that then puts in a detailed view that we can put somewhere else. Now, we click to place it, We can also double click on that and we can change some of the properties. At the moment that's 2 to 1. We could make that 4 to 1, which means it would be 4 times the size. Click on the tick. And now you can see it's zoomed in on the edge of that blade, so we can see what the edge of that blade is like. And if we wanted to, we could go along and we could dimension that. So we could add some dimensions in there to show the detail of the cutting edge of the blade if we wanted to. Of course, this saves automatically because it's working on the cloud, so we don't need to give it a title or a name or anything like that. Drawing 1 will be saved along with the model. We could go ahead and rename it at a later stage, but that's our drawing, and that has been created in a matter of moments from our model.